What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Built Different podcast. This episode, I was joined by a couple of dudes out of Idaho that have been traveling the country. They've hit up a lot of our events. Bryan, otherwise known as Woodgrain FXR, and his riding partner and good friend Detox. Those dudes put down a ton of miles over the years, are pretty involved in some of the FXR jams and the FXR shows around the country, and really kind of pushing the Triple Crown of the FXR shows. And just have a lot of stories about, traveling and riding and putting down miles. They're a couple of really good dudes that I'm, blessed to call friends and sit down and have a conversation with them. I think you guys will enjoy this one. And just remember, this podcast is brought to you by TuckerSpeed.com, your one-stop shop for all things performance-related for your Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Before we get started, please give us a 5-star review, follow the show. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
Making power by day, making friends at night. Built different, Tucker Speed. Hell yeah, brother.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah,
Bryan,
thanks for having us.
Woodgrain FXR, Detox.
Thanks.
Detox rides, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. You guys are out of Idaho or Twin Falls,
Yep.
right?
Yep. South Central Idaho.
Yeah. So give me the rundown, because I don't know that I really know your backstory on how you got into, motorcycling and what all you guys are doing. And
Well, I mean, for me, motorcycling started. I grew up in a very small agricultural town, Aberdeen, Idaho, and
that's
so
pretty much all of Idaho.
right. I think it's similar to down here, kind of, and motorcycle was my kind of first ticket to freedom of getting
Sure.
out of the house, and it's my first mode of transportation of getting to work to move pipe in the fields, and that's really where it started for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got a little bit older, I'd always been interested in Harleys, and finally got me one, and we were in a club together for about 5 years, and
Okay.
that's how we met each other.
Okay.
And that was kind of at the beginning of my street riding journey.
Sure.
And then over the last, we've known each other for about 7 years, and we've probably put about 45 to 50,000 miles bar to bar with each other over the years.
Right on.
our trips and travels and everything. So we've become real close over the years, and
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, every time we run into each other, you guys are together.
pretty much, yeah,
You know?
we're inseparable. And it wouldn't look like we would be, as close of friends or as good of friends, but
Yeah.
this is my best friend right here.
Right on.
He's had my back since day one, and the same with me. So
Cool. What was your first Harley?
I got a Sportster.
Yeah.
Picked up a
Pretty
Sportster.
common, right?
Right, and man, it was a basket case. I think it came from the guy I got it from. He picked it up from an estate auction or something, and he got it running and riding, but it was a Sportster, and he's an older guy, and it just beat him up too much. And so I picked it up and rebuilt it, and kept it maintained, and painted it, and bars and everything else, and then the Fast Life campout was really kind of my first long distance trip. I really wanted to go on it. I've been hearing all the stories about it.
Was that the first one?
That was my, I went to the third.
Their
I think
third?
Their third
Okay.
was my first one. And so, yeah, I did it was like 3,200 mile trip on it, and quickly realized that's not the best,
the bike.
touring bike. It's possible you can completely do it.
You can. Yeah, it can be done.
The most comfortable, but you can do it.
Mhm.
So that's really what started it, and then from there I found FXRs. Saw a couple guys that were traveling on FXRs, and I really didn't have much experience with them at that time. The FXRs that I knew were mostly like clubbed out chop style,
Yeah.
D-rake,
Mhm.
and so I'd never really seen one in like a stock kind of form. And saw a couple of them there, and was just really interested in them, and seemed like the next progression into what I was doing. It's just like a 10% bigger than what I had.
Sure.
So it
Is that what the draw of the FXR was? I mean, why was the FXR the bike? Do you think, not a Dyna or Softail?
Well, Originally, I was, eyeing a Dyna to get into. That's what I thought I wanted to be, some sort of fuel injected, maybe the low rider or something. But I don't know. Really like wrenching on things myself. I had done everything on the Sportster myself, and I wanted to kind of keep that up. And I had, been learning about carburetors and the whole V twin thing. So, I just think that's my sweet spot, really.
Yeah.
It's enough to where you can change it up and build it in any different style, and there's a really good aftermarket or community, and the used parts, there's a good community of trading parts,
For
which
sure.
helps keep it somewhat at a low cost if you want to. It just seemed perfect for me. And then once I started test riding them and trying to look for one, just the size and everything fit me perfectly. So
So it was because there is such a big FXR community, probably more so than any other model.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could say the current trend of, baggers and stuff like that is pretty big. But the current trend's probably always going to be the biggest.
Right.
But the FXR thing just is still around.
Yeah.
And it, has always been there. A lot of people think that it's a new thing, that, that FXRs came back, but, they were always there.
I think there's just a lot more, light being shown on them now that we have
sure.
all the social media, and it's a lot more visible now,
Social media has changed it a lot.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? Because, when I worked in the dealership, it was kind of pre-social media, and, I talked to a lot of guys that had FXRs, but they were kind of fringe guys. They weren't your typical dealership, but you would see some of them come through the dealership occasionally,
Right.
Trying to hunt down a part for this or that. But those guys are, and I think that FXR community is also kind of a fringe community. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not your typical Harley rider.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking, I think.
And that's one of my favorite aspects of it is the community, is the FXR community and the camaraderie, to where you can basically walk up to anyone and have a full conversation, about these bikes. Because if you own them and ride them, there's so many similarities between all of them. You can have hours-long conversations about these bikes,
Sure.
which is just helpful to make you connect with anyone. So it's really fun. I've been having a blast with the FXRs, and going to the jams. The East Coast and the West Coast jam are some of my favorite events. It's kind of got that campout vibe where no one's trying to sell you anything. We all just show up and meet
hang
each
out.
other and hang out.
Yeah.
No agendas, and
Right.
it's just a good time.
Yeah. I was going to say, you guys have been doing a bunch of the campouts and the FXR jams and stuff. And you kind of answered my question already, but what is it about those events that you kind of are attracted to? Like, why?
For me,
Why that over Sturgis or
Well, I'm from real small farm areas, so just a lot of crowds is still kind of overwhelming.
Sure.
It's weird. I don't to see that many people in one place is overwhelming, and then just the high cost of everything at those rallies, and it's hard to even get decent food at a decent price, and
Sure.
just even hard to find parking. It's pretty chaotic at some of those bigger events,
For sure.
which is not necessarily my vibe. But I love Sturgis too.
Yeah.
And the Four Corners rally is really fun. I like going to those places to meet up with the friends,
Sure.
and have the conversation and build those connections to deeper connections. That's what it is for me, is building the connections and relationships.
Sure.
And it just seems like you get more quality time at the campouts and the jams and that
You
sort of
definitely
thing.
do.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it's just hard to get away from, what's popular and what's going on and what's in social media, and, but yeah, just the community aspect of it is really fun.
That was kind of the idea, when we started our camp out last year, is to try and create an event similar to that, where, we didn't want to go there and work. we didn't want to go there and set up a booth and
For
try and
sure.
sling merch or do whatever.
It's a lot.
Trying to get back to kind of the grassroots of just, put your gear on your bike and go for a ride.
Exactly. You guys need to have fun too. It can't be work for all the
and
time.
we go a lot of places, a lot of events and a lot of rallies, a lot of races, and more often than not, it's more work than if we would have just stayed home and
Right.
worked.
Exactly. Yeah, you're spending money and not making
and
as much.
And there's so much time and prepping for going to something like that, and set up and tear down and
Yeah.
all that. And it's great and all. And don't get me wrong, I love it because it still allows me to go travel and see the friends and,
Yeah.
and the people and make those connections. But it's a little refreshing to do a camp out
Yeah.
type ride.
It makes you feel like a kid again,
For sure.
when you're on BMX bikes, riding across town to go hit the swimming hole or, go grab an icy at the 7-Eleven, just makes you feel like a kid again. And that's what I love about it is the group traveling, having a tight group of guys you ride with and, knock out a couple states and show up and, go home and split ways. And
Yeah.
you just get a whole new perspective on life once you've done, a few days on the road.
Yeah. What other events you guys got coming up this year that you guys are going to do?
Well, we just came back from the Fast Life campout.
Mhm.
The other,
You're on your way home from that right now.
yeah, on our way home. The other one mandatory on our list is the West Coast Jam. We'll be making it too, and that's in the middle of July. And then Sturgis is on my list. I go to the FXR show to see the end of the Triple Crown. So
Mhm.
any of the guys completing the FXR Triple Crown. So I like doing that. We'll be at your camp out here at the end of this month. Going to be at the show, hopefully, your art show coming up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, whatever we can do. It seems like we come down here quite a bit for your events. You guys are
Yeah.
like the closest events that we have. This is the closest scene
Sure.
to us. So
Well, I would love to say you guys are part of our scene here, even in Twin. It's cool that,
yeah,
Come down
Well, it's-
repping you guys.
yeah,
it's been awesome, to have a group of people that I can connect with when we come down here.
For sure. yeah,
And then, I've hosted the Cofford brothers hit me up when they were traveling through Idaho.
Yeah.
So I gave them a good tour of my area
yeah.
and
They were
stuff.
talking about that, and they're good dudes.
Oh, they are. And so that's what it is. You just got to show up to these events and, meet people and build these connections.
Mhm.
And, I've been offered by multiple people in this area to, stay at their house. They're like, whatever, anytime, hit
Yeah.
me up, which is really amazing.
It is.
That someone really nearly a stranger, just barely more than acquaintances, would open up their house to you like that.
Mhm.
So that's what's cool about these smaller events and building connections.
Sure. Yeah. You guys were just telling me earlier that you flew into the camp out.
Yeah, we kind of did a cheat code.
Because I was like, because when I heard that when we were setting up this podcast,
Right.
and they're like, yeah, they're flying home from the camp out, I'm like,
that doesn't
kind of
sound like
defeats
them,
the
right?
purpose going to yeah, it doesn't sound like them. But then you told me that you flew out and then rented a couple of bikes.
Right. So for the last 3 years, we've ridden down there. So we're normally like one of the longest distance travelers that make it there. So I just decided to, it takes almost 2 weeks to get down there and back,
Mhm.
with the event. And if I want to do more things in the year, it just takes up too much time and money. So we kind of did a little cheat code and we found super cheap flights and just carried on our helmets. And we rented some bikes in Dallas for pretty affordable price.
Mhm.
And got to try 2 new different bikes, some different experiences.
Yeah, you guys weren't riding Harleys.
No, it was
even.
No,
weird. It was
it was-
so weird.
Way different.
How was that received like at the camp out when you rolled in on them?
Everyone was just stoked to see us, mostly.
Yeah.
They really didn't care where or how we got there or what
Yeah.
we were on.
And they wouldn't have cared if you flew and just rented a car.
No,
either.
not at
they
all.
wouldn't.
No.
But
But yeah, they were stoked to see. Everyone was really wanted to try the BMW. Everyone was
Oh, yeah.
stoked on that one.
you just don't, look like a BMW guy to me, though.
He
Oh,
fit
I'm
it
telling
perfect.
you. I had a
You
blast
might be
on that
one
thing.
now?
Yeah. I was out tooling that thing. It was in my contract. I could off-road it, so
Yeah,
I went off
they let
road.
him take his off road, and they said mine, and they wouldn't let me. So I kept mine pretty clean. But
Nice.
he was able to go out and rip around the back, dirt track, I guess, over at the K River campground and stuff. So, yeah, it was just interesting to ride a bike like that. It felt
Something
weird.
different.
Yeah, like cruising speed on the highway. I think we're doing like 80, 85, and we were at like 6 or 7,000 RPM, which is crazy to me. It just didn't feel right, but
If your FXR ever saw $7,000,
Yeah.
it would be in pieces,
Yeah.
But it tax out to 12, so I had way
got
more to
plenty.
go.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience, So
That
it was
little
just cool to
Ducati
try
ran
something
pretty
different.
yeah.
Yeah, I had the Ducati Scrambler and no fairing, which just blew me back the whole time and had to grip the bars. But it had 7/8 bars on it, which allowed me to kind of grip it a little bit better because I don't have very big hands. So, I might maybe incorporate that into my bike is
There you
putting
go.
some 7/8 bars on there just to give a little more comfort,
Yeah.
over the long day of riding. So,
Funny when you ride one bike and there's things you like and you
Right.
go home and are like, maybe I'll
yeah,
change
I
this stuff
never,
on my
I
bike.
never thought that I would get that from, riding a bike, a cafe bike like that. So
Yeah.
it was really cool.
How far is the campground from Dallas? How many miles did you put down on them?
It was like 168 one way, so we did about 400 miles on
Okay.
them. My bike had 1,600 when I picked it up, so I put about 25% of the miles on that thing
Oh,
in a weekend.
It's
So
a pretty new bike.
yeah, it was interesting. I kind of felt bad, but they gave us unlimited miles on the rentals. You're dumb for
Use it.
giving us
Yeah,
unlimited
use it.
miles. So it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. It seemed like a cool way to kind of check out an area. If you didn't have the time to ride across the country to go check out a city, fly in, rent a bike, check it out, and then fly
Go
home.
home.
Seemed like it's like a cheat code,
Yeah.
honestly. But you do miss a lot.
You
In
missed the
between,
ride.
you missed the ride and all the landscapes and everything in between. It really didn't feel like we were there because we didn't travel there. It
Yeah.
feels like we just time traveled there. So it was strange.
Our first ride out there, we left our house, decent weather. 5 minutes later, windy. Another 5 minutes later, snowing.
Yeah.
Ice, freezing. He was almost wanting to turn around and go back home. I said, dude, 5 more minutes, it's going to change. And looking at what you guys got here,
Yeah.
we'd been coming through that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
So-
were. It was snowing here last night.
Yeah, the weather's still sketchy.
So
Yeah.
it's,
Here
it's
at home.
sketchy in between,
Sure.
here and home.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of glad we cheated this time.
Well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think it does change the experience. Though,
it does.
Because part of those trips is the ride.
Oh, definitely. It's the gas station stops. It's the stories in between. It's the
Yeah.
breakdowns. It's the food stops. It's eating beef jerky at a Maverick at midnight because there's no other food there. That's
Done that
what
a
it
few
is.
times, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they didn't even
Ended
have
up in some scary places. Yeah, in
Of
the middle of the
course.
night. Yeah.
and that's what makes the trips. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the weather around here is still pretty sketchy.
Yeah, for sure. So how was the camp out?
This was it was the most chill camp out that I've been to. We've
Really?
been to them for this is the fourth one I've been to, but it was the most chill, like the most intimate.
Really?
Which was pretty cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Was that? What do you think that was from? Just
I don't even.
it getting older, like the camp out getting kind of
I don't think there was maybe as much promotion this year.
okay.
Um,
Was there less
around-
people?
There was.
There was
Okay.
there was less people, and also it was the diehard people.
Right. I
It's
feel.
like they see the shitty weather, they're not going to show up.
Oh yeah.
It's like
I think that played a factor.
your guys' camp out, the shitty weather
It-
brought us all closer together.
For sure.
It
Yeah.
was more fun for me
hmm
going down there playing in the mud and hanging
Yeah.
out and having a good time with
Exactly.
you guys. Now it was kind of like that this time. up
Okay.
there.
More quality over quantity, I would say. So it allowed us to strengthen the relationships that we'd been forming over the years, and even to make a couple of new ones. So
Right on.
I prefer it that way. I'd rather have quality over quantity any day.
Yeah.
So it was a good time.
Well, and I think like our camp our camp out last year was very much that.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
And it wasn't, we didn't design it that. I don't think you can design it that way. It's
Yeah.
hard to, it just has to kind of
If you tried to
happen.
recreate that,
Yeah.
I don't think you could.
It's
we
not
could.
going to happen.
But it was a quality weekend,
Definitely.
and there wasn't a ton of people. I mean, I think there was 40 or 50 of us in the
Yeah.
camp out that was down there camping, but but yeah, it just created for a nice event. So I'm assuming it was something similar to that, where
Yeah.
less people, kind of less background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
it was very intimate. At the end, we had a big toast around the fire. And
Right on.
there was nothing going on stage. It just felt like friends hanging out around the fire.
Yeah.
Which I guess was the feeling on the first ones. Well, we didn't get to make it to the first few of them,
Uh-huh.
but we had a
Uh,
great time, and I'm very glad we went to that event over the years.
Yeah, right on. I want to be able to make it because I've never done one
Right.
of the Fast Life campouts.
It's a long way.
It's a long ways.
takes a lot.
and it's like right in the heart of our like busiest time
Right.
of year. Like we're just getting slammed.
That's what he was saying. He was talking about tire changes,
Yeah,
and
man, we're just
batteries,
so
and just
busy
getting
right now.
everything on the road.
And then just trying to figure out what events to do throughout the year and which ones I can make and which ones
Right.
I can't. And I just have never been able to make that one happen. And I really want to at some point. I just
Yeah.
can't do them all.
This was their last one, apparently.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Well,
So
Guess
you
you
missed
snooze,
the
you
era.
lose.
Yep, unfortunately. But, it was fun, and I think, without that there, it allows for other events to kind of pop up
Sure.
and, fill that void. So,
Right.
and give people other options. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
that's-
nice.
And I'm sure somebody out there will see that a need for that and have there'll be
Another
something
one coming back.
something similar
Yeah.
pop up somewhere else.
I'm sure there'll be some sort of something event coming in the future.
Sure. I mean, there always is.
Of course.
That's it's just evolution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how the world goes around.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see what you guys are doing with this new art show coming up.
yeah, I mean, our art show we've been putting a ton of work into
Yeah.
it. And like, I don't think people realize how much time me and Jordan have really put into this show. And like today, sitting here today, we're about 30 days out from it.
Yeah.
Man, it is so much work.
Yeah. Well, we were in a club for almost 5 years together, and we did some events and
Mhm.
merchandise and that sort of stuff, and it is a lot of work, man.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
even when you have a team of a lot of guys helping to do it, it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
So when there's just a few people doing it, it's a
Yeah.
whole lot of work.
yeah. So I mean, we're hoping to turn that show into something special, something bigger
Yeah,
that we can run for, a lot of years.
that'd be cool.
Something because I really dig like like the One Moto show
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and Mama Tried and
I think that's something this area is missing.
something. Yeah,
You guys
something
have
like
the
that.
population and the community to do something like that, and I think it was definitely missing in this area.
I think so too. Because I've been to all of those shows.
Right.
And I'm just like, and I go there and I'm in like just such awe of what's going on. And I'm like, this is so badass.
Right.
Like, this is so cool. And I just want to be able to have people in our area be able to experience it. So
Right.
it's like, I can't take them all there. So I'll
Right.
just try and bring
Some of
something
it
like
here.
that here.
Or, and it would be a good way to get other people to this area to see, what we've got going
For
on.
sure. And
So-
and that's part of the plan is
Yeah.
this is not, we're not trying to just make this an Ogden, Utah event. This is something that I want people to want to travel to.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost a Utah event. I wouldn't call it a Salt Lake event. I would say,
Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah, and that's the idea is like a Mama Tried is, I mean, Milwaukee's different than Salt Lake, but
See, we haven't been there yet, and that's
Really?
on our list. I want to go to there.
it's a
check it out.
it's a badass show. It
Right.
really is, man. It's such a good event. Have you done the One Moto show?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, man, you got to do both of those. I mean, there again, going back to, crowds and people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's probably one we'd probably just fly in and rent a car. Or
I don't
a
think there's
bike.
anything wrong with
Yeah.
that. I mean, especially Mama Tried, because it's
It's wintertime,
it's
right?
in Milwaukee
Yeah.
in winter, and
Yeah.
like we've been there a couple years, and it's been like below zero.
Yeah, screw
And the
that.
wind coming off of the lake,
Yeah, no
like
thanks.
so cold.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was cold here. Like some of the colds I felt there, like man, it's cold there.
Yeah,
But-
I don't have the insulation for that. So I'm not built for that.
But yeah, that's the idea, and we're excited that guys like you. I mean, I know you're not that far away, but I mean, you guys are what, like 4 hours up the road?
Oh, not even. I think we're like 200 and something miles. So
4 hours for some people,
uh,
2
Yeah.
for others.
yeah, 2 for others. We're about the 2.5 range.
But I mean, for it to kind of outreach, even you guys are like, stoked to be here and
Yeah.
be involved and be a part of it, and
For sure.
it is cool. So,
And I've been I'm working through my pictures and my video right now. I got
Right on.
a big catalog to go through, so I'm just trying to
Weeding.
find my submissions for
Sure.
you guys. So I want to pick the right ones. I have like I think 800 gigs over the last like 3
Oh,
or
wow.
4 years of video and
stuff.
photos. So it's just hard to choose and hard to edit all that stuff down, man. It's props to Jordan for doing all that stuff. It takes a lot of time to
Mhm.
do that. So
yeah, and that's part of the show that we're pretty excited about. Is that a big part of the show is open to the public to participate
Right,
in
yeah.
that way.
Yeah, you
through
leave it
photos.
open to everybody.
And there is an invitational part of the show, but there's also a big chunk of the show that's open to the public, that they can submit a photo
Yeah.
or a little film or put their bike in the show.
Yeah, it gives the everyday man, an opportunity
sure,
to
to-
be a part of some of these
To be a part of
events.
it and,
Yeah,
and show off, their bike or the photos,
Right.
that they've taken, or a film that they've put together.
Yeah.
And in a film, I mean, it's going to be quite a bit of work for someone to film that and sit
Yeah.
down and edit it.
it's a lot. I've been working on one for weeks and weeks,
Yeah.
and you just got to stop and take a break because I can't listen to that song anymore. I'm
And I
kind
keep-
of over
I
it.
keep making videos,
Yeah,
shots for them. It's like
It-
I just keep filling up the GoPros.
yeah. It just keeps getting more and more. So
Yeah.
It's definitely something you got to stay on top of. But I have a good archive to pull from.
Right on.
so.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the Woodgrain thing
Uh-huh.
and how that came about, what it is, what it means, like
Well, it started. I'm a painter, and
by trade. Is that what you do?
yeah. So I went.
That's what you do for a living?
Yes. So
Okay.
right now I'm painting historical aircraft. I
Okay.
do like World War II Corsairs and Mustangs.
You're even more badass.
I mean, I guess it sounds cool, but it's a pain. It's literally going through every nut and bolt and rivet,
Wow.
and we strip every square inch of paint off of it, and you get into every nook and cranny, and
Okay.
every wire's replaced, every hose, everything. It's like a brand new plane, basically.
Okay.
After his restoration. So that's what I'm doing currently. I've been painting about 10 years now. I went to school for it at the College of Southern Idaho. I took the collision repair program. The instructor there had been painting for 25, 30 years. And he started introducing the custom paint, and he was telling me about a wood grain. He could make a faux wood grain, and I was always intrigued about it. And it was before I even had a motorcycle. I thought, wow, that'd be cool on the side of a motorcycle tank
Mhm.
to make it look like wood, And so he taught us how to do that technique, and as soon as I got my Sportster, it had a shitty paint job on it, and so I knew I wanted to do that. And so I built my Sportster and painted it with, I just had the wood grain on the tank and then on the air cleaner. And so I ran that wood grain paint job for about 5 years. And then when I picked up my FXR, it was kind of the same situation.
hmm
So I was like, well, I got to paint it, so might as well just
Run
keep it
with
wood
that.
grain.
There you go.
So that's kind of how I've been doing it or how I've been running it, and keep it kind of unique, very noticeable.
For sure.
I don't think there's another one out there.
Yeah,
so.
it is definitely. I don't know that I've ever seen anything.
Yeah, people trip out on it. You
Yeah.
know, on Main Street, they like come up and start touching on it.
Like,
You
oh,
gotta
is
like,
this
hey,
real?
don't touch. You know? No, it's not real. You know, but yeah, I just had a lot of fun with that. I thought it was a cool design and kind of a timeless, black and tan kind of scheme.
Yeah.
That's just what I've been running it with, and so ultimate goal, I'd like to make like a his and her with the Sportster and the FXR.
Oh yeah.
Do like the mini saddleman fairing and just kind of make a matching pair. I think would be my ultimate goal.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you bringing that to the show?
Um,
XR by chance?
Possibly, I'm not sure. Just depends if I have a lot of maintenance to do on it. I've put about
Better be ready for the camp out.
Well, yeah. So I got a lot of work to do. I've put about 50,000 miles on that thing in the last 2 years. So it's leaking out of about every orifice. So, I just need to spend the time and tear it down and, and fix it back and
What
get
year
it
you
back
got?
on the road. It's a 93 lowrider.
Okay.
And then I've added the fairing and the clamshell and the tour pack on it. So I've kind of kitted it out to make it like a lowrider ST almost,
Right.
like what they would have based that bike on back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What year's that sporty?
Sportster's the 01
Okay.
Sportster 1200.
So yeah, you got that rigid frame, man.
Yep.
It's not fun.
No, it
on
is
cross
not.
because you
No.
get off that thing and your eyes are still vibrating.
Yep.
You know?
Uh-huh. Yep.
I had a 94 was my first one, so did a few long hauls on it and found, like you said, found out quick that this is not the platform to be running.
It is not. But I rip that one around town, keep it local,
Yeah. That's cool. You
in the
still
state
got it.
pretty much. Yeah.
I wish I still had mine. They are fun to rip.
They're a blast. I love them. And just, you can change them and do whatever you want.
Right.
You can build them into any style,
Yeah.
which is my favorite about it all, And yeah, it's cheap and the knowledge is kind of out there.
Right.
Everyone has one or has had one.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I love my FXR a lot more. I don't see myself ever getting rid of either one of those.
Mhm.
We've just had so many miles together.
Yeah.
I can't see myself.
Do you think that you'll ever change it up? Jump on a bagger or anything newer? Do you have any desire to?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't think I would fit a bagger. I'm not a real huge dude, so it's just I've ridden his bagger, and it's a lot of weight for me to handle.
Sure.
So it's just not really my style.
What about like jumping over? I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
pressure you or sell you anything right here, but like say a new Softail ST or something.
I don't know. I've
Just
never
know it.
I've
Just-
never had a payment. That scares the crap
Mm.
out of me. Having a payment, and then I'd just be afraid to wreck it. Like
Yeah.
I've never had anything that new, so it would just be weird. And I'm not really into all the electronics and
Uh-huh.
gadgets and the tuning and all that. I'd rather have carburetor. I carry a lot of tools and parts with me on my
We
FXR.
found that out last year on the
Yeah.
camp.
Yeah, I pretty much carry about everything, So that's the way I.
Dude was
prefer.
out there taking all the guys' fenders off their
Really?
bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Nat from Montana. He had his rear sprocket came loose. So
Yeah.
we were pulling out the whole primary and, getting as deep as we can with, what we have.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stuck out there.
For
so,
sure.
That's my favorite. I like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So I just don't think you would have that on the new bikes, It just seems too easy.
It definitely makes it easier.
Right.
It changes things.
Right.
It's definitely different.
And maybe if I was in a different position in life, where I didn't have the time to, go on long trips and stuff, I was, really more pressured. I would probably have a new bike,
Yeah.
if I had the money and everything else for it. But I like the vintage. I like the old school,
Sure.
just to try to do it like the old guys did.
Yeah.
That's all they had back in the day. They didn't have any other options.
That was new to them.
Right. Yeah,
That
that
was
was
the
that
new-
was modern technology. So
Yeah.
if they could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
So, and we got cell phones and we have social media and all that stuff that they didn't have even.
For
So
sure.
It's a little easier for us nowadays.
It was trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's driving by waving at us.
Oh, really?
Detox, what you running? What
Huh?
said you got a bagger? What?
I
Which
got
one
an
you got?
06 Ultra Classic.
So you got the Cadillac, huh?
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
the Cadillac ball.
You storing all his parts when you guys go running?
Yeah.
All the
Yeah,
tools.
I'm the chase bike. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
picking up everybody's parts on the side of the
Oh,
road.
this
right.
dude
Ball
picked up
top.
my GoPro last
Yeah.
year on
Really?
the camp out.
Yeah.
I thought it was gone, dude. It was, well, I didn't even know it had fallen off because I had it mounted to the back fender on my Road King.
It was on your seat screw, right?
Yeah, it was on the
Or-
seat screw.
yeah.
How'd you
And,
pick that up?
and I didn't even know it had come off. We were going through that stretch, kind of like the Badlands,
Mhm.
like around Mountain View, Flaming Gorge, you know?
Right.
And the road was like super bumpy.
Yeah, oh,
like,
it was
super
terrible.
bumpy, you know, and we're just ripping through there. And we get to the next gas station there in whatever that town is, Manila,
I
maybe?
think
Manila?
so.
And he rolls up. He's like, dude, did you lose something? I was like, I don't think so.
It's like you didn't have anything with you.
Yeah,
You didn't have
I
a
didn't have
jacket
it-
or anything.
I didn't, yeah, because all my stuff was in the van, and Jordan's girlfriend had gotten separated
Yeah,
from
you
us.
didn't
I
even
didn't
have
have
anything
my
to-
rain gear and everything because that bike doesn't have any bags or
Right.
anything on it.
So you guys hit rain too, huh?
Oh, we
So-
got hammered.
Hammered.
Yeah, we got hammered. And I didn't have all of my rain gear was in the van, and she had gotten separated, and so I was just soaking wet. But that stretch, it was dry. It was actually
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
dry through that area, right? And we roll in, and he's like, "Did you lose something?" I was like, I really ain't got much to lose here, you know. But he hands me my GoPro, and I guess it went bouncing and
Tumbling,
whizzed back.
twisted,
And he's like, he saw it go into a bush or something.
Yeah.
He whipped around, went
That's
back,
crazy.
got down in the bush, and found my GoPro and brought it back.
Is that the 360 one? You have it?
No, it was the
No.
older
Oh,
one.
Like a
that
3 or
one.
a 4 or
Gotcha.
something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't even remember what it was, but
Well, we normally hang in the back because I carry the extra parts and the
Yeah.
tools and extra fuel, and I'm not trying to be a fast guy up front. I'd much
Sure.
rather enjoy it from the back, and I could see everyone else having fun. You know?
yeah,
So we like to hang at the back, and then
That's me too.
you catch all of the stuff.
pick up all the pieces falling off.
Exactly. Yep. Constantly.
I'm always picking people's stuff up.
But no, yeah, he saved me last year with the GoPro. We would have lost it because
Yeah.
I'm surprised you even were able to find it.
Yeah.
I
Seriously.
seen it. I watched it go. It's like usually when I see something bounce, and I watch, and I keep my eye on it. It's like, okay, I got to get over,
Yeah.
let these guys go by, and I'll go back and get it. You know, look at mile markers. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you got to look at little spots. It's like, okay, that's where it went off at.
So Detox, let's talk about you for a minute.
Oh no,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
no way.
You got a few years on Bryan,
Few,
a couple,
yeah.
but like how long you been riding? How'd you get into it?
I was born into it. I've been riding since I was 4, racing when I was 5, and just plucking along. That was my life,
Yeah.
you know. It's been
What
my
were you
life.
racing?
Huh?
What were you racing?
Dirt bikes
Okay.
down there at Glen Helen.
Oh, okay. So you grew up in Southern California?
Yeah,
Okay.
down at Paula, Glen Helen,
Mm-hmm.
and then
You
done a
bet-
couple road courses down there on Riverside Raceway before they shut that down.
Mm-hmm.
Done a couple trips on that track, and then
You've been in multiple clubs over the
yeah,
years.
a few
A
clubs.
few.
Couple
Yeah.
different clubs.
Yeah, and I just love to ride.
Yeah.
You know, it's like took him under my wing there a little bit, and
How'd you end up in Twin Falls?
shit, my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Women.
met her. Met
Women
her.
will do that.
Yep.
Yeah, met her in Wendover. I was dealing cards for a living, and we ended up getting married and decided can't raise kids out there, so
Mm-hmm.
we moved to Twin and raised the kids.
Right on.
You know, and it's got into a club out there and a sober club,
Mm-hmm.
and just
That got
moved
you
along
back.
from there.
That got you back into riding,
Yeah,
getting your sobriety back.
yeah, yeah,
So did you have a break from riding for a while?
a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit,
Okay.
but it was always in my blood. It's always in my blood. I'm not gonna give it up anytime soon.
Sure.
You know,
Well, I mean, I think once you got the bug,
you have the bug.
it's there.
I think
Yeah.
he rides a motorcycle better than he can walk. Like
Yeah.
he's on a motorcycle, more maneuverable than on his
Then-
feet.
yeah.
So
I could see that.
yeah.
These guys have to pick me off my bike sometimes.
Yeah, we literally have to
Literally.
carry him off and get him off of there because he can't move. He's just been on it for so long.
I got a screwed up back,
Okay.
so I do what I can, go as long as I can, when I can, you know.
Yeah.
As long as I'm up on it and I'm riding, I'm good. You
But
know?
getting off is another story.
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's a real hard chore.
Sure.
You know, it's like flying up there doing this ride. You know, I'm hurt pretty bad today.
Really.
Yeah.
Just
And
from airports.
Just
and flying.
airports,
Yeah.
flying, and you know, it's slowing me down.
Yeah. How old are you now?
57.
Okay.
So yeah, it's slowing me down, the pain. But I'm gonna
Well, I
do
think it's one of those things, man, that like it's slowing you down, but I think, you can't quit.
nope.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
also keeping him going.
it's keeping you going, because if you were to stop, it would probably, damn near kill you.
me.
You know,
They'd kill me.
it just, you gotta keep the machine moving, or it's
Exactly.
gonna,
Right.
rust up and seize up,
Seize
and,
up.
and be done,
Right.
Yep.
It's just like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You park it in the garage and let it sit.
That's
gonna,
that's when
the
the most
worst.
damage happens.
Yeah, right. You got to
Yeah.
keep everything moving. So
It's a lot harder to rebuild the human body,
for
but
sure.
they're getting better at it.
Yeah.
How's your recovery coming?
Oh, it's slow.
Yeah,
Slow.
you're moving around better than I
I'm-
thought you were going to be.
Yeah. No, I'm getting around. I'm walking a lot better. Because what are we now? Like 8 months past? I think
About
9
When was it
months.
September,
9
beginning of
months,
It was
September?
the first weekend in September.
We watched it happen. We were right there. We've seen you wreck both times in the last 2 years. We were there.
all 3 times.
Yeah, we were at Sonoma, and then we were at Four Corners. So
That's where I met
Maybe
you.
you guys shouldn't show up to
yeah,
the
we
races
probably should
anymore.
stop watching you race.
That's where I met you.
That's what
I remember talking to you on the hill.
Yep, I'm
I
the one that
remember talk-
videotaped that.
Yeah, I
That-
remember
that
talking
after-
to
The
you up
Sonoma
on
one?
the hill at Sonoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were right there on the hill, and
Okay.
he was coming straight at us. Basically, we watched it all.
And I videoed that whole thing, and then I started talking to him. Didn't even know who he was. I said, "Man, check this one out." And he's all like, "That's me." Oh shit! Oh, right on.
He was
So-
like, "Look at this dumbass."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's me.
It's like, oh, sorry. Are you okay?
But yeah, I'm getting around. This one's been a rough one though.
Oh, I
I
bet.
still got. I won't be able to race this year, but maybe next year we'll see.
You'll be back on the bike this year?
I'll be
though?
riding.
You'll
I've been riding a little bit just around
Okay.
town.
Cool.
I definitely couldn't get on my race bike right now because I can't bend my leg that
Oh, wow.
far back
Okay.
because on my BRL bike my feet are with the rear set, my
Right.
feet are up underneath me like a sport bike.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't bend my leg that far, and my leg really doesn't have any strength, like squatting, like
Right.
from
Yeah, real
from
weak.
bend, it's just
Yeah.
weak, and so
Are you doing physical therapy and that sort of thing?
still doing quite a bit of that, but it's just been a slow, because I jacked up, I broke my shoulder in Sturgis in
Oh, wow,
2020. And it needed a plate and screws and all that. But man, in like 6-8 weeks, I was like back after it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was halfway expecting this to
Right.
be.
Not
You know
not
what I
on your
mean?
legs.
Yeah, you're putting weight on it.
And
It takes a
it
lot.
was 12 weeks before I could even start putting weight on. my
Wow.
leg,
Yeah.
and so it's just been a long one. So, but I'm getting around.
Cool. Well, the wall ride before you really wrecked was pretty epic. We got to see that
Yeah,
one.
I'm like
Pretty sweet.
half embarrassed about that whole night. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that made the night. Honestly, I wouldn't have known what else happened that night. so
Well, and I
you
think
keep it exciting.
yeah,
that's for
I
sure.
guess, right? I mean, that's why we all show up to the races. We want to see their crashes, right?
Unfortunately,
So I was
they
able to
happen.
provide the entertainment. But yeah, the wall ride, I mean,
classic.
And what was that? You had switched your trees or something, right? And you didn't
yeah.
have the turning.
and I think
radius
that's
or
what's most
something?
embarrassing is like the night before we left for the event, I'm like, I'm going to change this front end out on
Oh,
this bike.
We always work on our stuff the
Yeah,
night before,
yeah.
the minute before you leave.
So
It's mandatory
yeah,
to
the
change it all up.
Day before, I have another bike I'm putting together that I've been working on for a few years now that has this really nice front end.
Uh-huh.
And I've never liked the front end that was on my flat track bike.
Mhm.
So I was like, screw it, I'm still on this front end.
Yeah.
And it's for a different year. But I was like, I can make it fit.
Mhm.
So I'm like throwing it together, putting it together, and I got it on there and everything was working fine, except for the turn radius wasn't, it had a really small turn radius.
Right.
That was hitting the stoppers really early, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know.
I'll deal with it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll just ride through it.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to ride it. Well, what I found out the hard way is that when you flat track and then you like kick out the rear end and you kind of counter steer into it,
You need more counters.
Gotta
dude.
have
you
it.
need more. But when it hits that stopper, what it does is it actually picks the bike. So it
High side,
it high side.
I was kind of
Nice
getting
idea.
that a little bit on that scrambler in the parking lot when I would go
Really?
to kind of turn around to get out of the parking spot.
Mhm.
I would feel it hit that lock, and kind of that same thing would happen. I'd have to put my foot down
Yeah,
to catch
and that's
yourself.
exactly what it was.
That was
and,
the instinct.
and so, like at the flat track race, it really wasn't a big deal early in the day when the track was wet because it wasn't, the back end wasn't kicking out like kind of real quick and violently
Yeah.
because there was more traction. But then as the night went on and it got dry, when I got on the throttle, the back end kicked out really fast.
Yeah.
And it high sided me, and I had to like steer into it to not like high
Right.
side, which sent me into
Sent
the
you
wall.
into
That just wadded you up.
Yeah.
It all happened so fast that I didn't really think about it, and I was like, screw it, I'm
Right.
going back out there,
Gonna do it again.
do it again, line back up,
Same thing happened.
next corner, same thing,
Yeah.
and I planted my leg and my knee blew up.
Yeah.
So
Brutal.
I kind of did it to myself.
We were right there in the stands next to you as they were trying to get your leg onto the cart, and just
Load
the sounds you were
Yeah.
making. I was like, oh my god! I wanted to give you some consolement or something,
Yeah.
but I just couldn't even go over it. I couldn't even look at it.
Yeah,
It was brutal.
it's
That
one of those
sucks.
things, man. It is what it is. I did it to myself. You
Yeah.
know.
You're a tough dude. That's all I'll say.
My my little brother who was racing that night too was like, well, just pull the stoppers off the triple tree,
Mm.
like so that there's no stoppers and it won't be a big deal. And I was like, and still I'm like, oh fuck it, I'll just ride through it.
Right.
Yeah.
No big deal. I'm like, if I pull the stoppers off, my tank is
Right.
my,
Then I'm gonna kill my tank.
my tank's
Yeah.
going to be the stopper, and I don't want to destroy my tank.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Hindsight.
destroyed it either way.
yeah, it would have been a lot cheaper to
Yeah.
destroy my tank.
Well,
But lesson learned.
Yeah, that's what happens with racing. I guess
It is what it is, man. I mean, but yeah, that's the part that bugs me the most is that it was kind of a self-inflicted thing.
Right.
Like looking back, I didn't know that at the time,
Right.
but
Well, you're still young. You can bounce back.
I don't know if I'm that young anymore, man. I don't feel like it, but
You can bounce back.
yeah,
Hard miles.
for sure.
Hard miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do for a living, Detox?
Ride motorcycles.
Retired?
Retired.
Retired.
Man, I'm jealous.
No, it sucks. Everybody's working, and it's like I want to go play, and everybody's working.
Everybody's got
Oh.
stuff to do.
And then when it's time for them to get off, it's like, oh, I'm too damn tired. I gotta fucking do this. Like, got your old ladies things to do,
Yeah.
It sucks.
Right on. Well, retirement doesn't sound bad, but
Sometimes it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It allows you to just do these trips, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allows
You're
me to
kind
do
of
what
the
I
freedom
want.
to
Yeah.
ride whenever.
Don't have to answer to nobody.
Yeah.
Just go for broke.
We try to keep it pretty low budget, just to do as much as we can with as little.
Sure.
I think that's one of the funnest things to just see how far
See
you can go with
With
as
what you
little.
got in your pocket.
Pocket,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we don't need all this fancy stuff and do all the crazy stuff. Just keep it simple and have fun. So
Just-
that's what we're trying to do.
When you guys are running, are you guys tenting out on the side of the road type deal, or do you guys get hotels?
Mostly
or
hotel
You guys
rooms.
do that.
With his back problems,
gotcha.
sleeping's kind of tough for him in some places. But we'll do a camp out, bring the air mattresses, bring the tents, and that sort of thing. And I've done it before, where you just pull up in the Flying J parking lot and roll your sleeping bag out, and I'll sleep right under the bike.
Yeah.
and that's kind of fun. But I do that when I'm solo. I've done that once or twice,
Yeah.
which is pretty nostalgic,
Sure.
So,
I did that for many years.
right.
Jumping
Yeah.
off wherever, sleep under a tree, in a gas station parking lot in the grass, off the side on the freeway, down in a ditch. You just get
Just
tired.
wherever.
You get tired, you just roll off. My best one was on the side of the freeway, rolled down in the ditch, just passed out with my little bedroll. It's like easy.
Do what you got to do, huh?
Yeah.
Just go till you can't go anymore.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And I had some good times.
Right on.
You know?
Well, we are excited to have you guys come down and hang out at the campout.
Yeah.
And come down to the art show. And anytime you guys roll through, man, you guys are always welcome
Oh, for sure.
in here, man. We kind of consider you guys, kind of part of our crew.
Well, cool. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
You know what I mean? You guys
Yeah.
have been great. I mean, we've gotten to know you guys a little bit, now over the last year or so, through some of the events and stuff. And, that's the cool part is that, you guys are in a different state, but we still consider,
Yeah.
you roll through an event, you get to see those people that are good friends, but
Yeah.
you might not see them
Yeah.
for another year.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're just thankful you guys are doing stuff down here, and putting events on for us to
Yeah.
come to.
Come to you. Yeah.
It's, I mean, Idaho's, we're coming around. They have the Party at the Pen show.
Yeah.
Has been going on for a couple of years.
And that's
gaining some
right close to
traction.
you guys, right?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
like it's like 120 miles
Oh, okay.
to the west of us.
Okay.
So it's a good little 2-hour rip.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to the first one. We didn't make it last year because it conflicted with Four
With
Corners.
Four Corners, yeah.
But we had a great time at the first one. Regardless of the bikes, I love that venue alone.
For
You know,
sure.
and then you add in the bikes, just made it
Just
a really
cool.
cool
Yeah.
event. Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't looked yet if it conflicts with Four Corners again or not.
I'm not too sure. We haven't looked that far into our
Yeah,
schedule
it's
yet.
a long ways away,
Long
right?
ways.
But it'll be
It'll be
here
a
before
quick-
you know it.
Yeah. I haven't done that one. We've got a few friends that have done that one, and,
Yeah.
and they say it's badass,
It's-
but it's
it is.
conflicted with Four Corners, and so I haven't been able to make it. But I mean, I think just having it at the penitentiary
Yeah.
is
It's really
is
dope.
cool.
It's a cool vibe, there's- they're doing tattoos in the cell blocks. They're shooting dice underneath the stairs.
Yeah.
It's cool. I
Yeah.
don't know how you can not like it.
No, I think and that was kind of the idea, like with our art show, is doing it down there at the Monarch. The art gallery is going to kind of set the scene,
I think so.
and then just bringing in motorcycles and artists, like
Yeah.
is going to be cool. So, but yeah, the Party at the Pen's one of those ones where the facility kind of
Puts it in.
makes it what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. Yeah, it's a great environment.
What's cooler than just taking like a really cool spot like that and then just putting a bunch of motorcycles in it, and like
Yeah,
it doesn't get any cooler than that.
no, it was a really cool event. You have all the different bikes. I didn't necessarily know what I'm looking at. They're older choppers. I
Yeah.
know what engine it is,
Sure.
but other than that, I don't really know what I'm looking at. And I kind of look at them like art pieces.
Sure.
Like I don't know what it is. What's your creation? And yeah, just all the different styles and flavors of bikes is stuff I don't normally look at.
The older stuff, it gets a little tricky because if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know whether you're looking at maybe this part on the motorcycle is super rare and
Right.
it's a part that came on the bike that you can't find anymore.
Exactly.
Or maybe this part is a one-off handmade piece,
Right.
and you don't really know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And that's kind of the cool part about some of those old bikes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. What are the other events we're looking forward to this year?
I don't know.
I always like going to Sturgis and seeing the FXR show in Sturgis.
Yeah.
I don't know if have you been to that one? Do you
The
guys
FX
do Sturgis?
Yeah, I've done it 3 or 4 times in the last few years. We did the FXR show. What year was that, Jordan? 2020 or 2019?
Okay, I think that was before we started going.
2019, I think it was. I went and we actually set up a booth at the FXR show.
Oh, tight.
And that was early when we really started to push our stuff out there, kind of nationally.
Okay.
19 was probably the first year we really started to travel and put our name out there. But yeah, we set up a
Cool.
booth at the FXR show and, just hung out and talked to people and sold some T-shirts and
Right.
stuff and handed out stickers.
That's one of my favorite, kind of events. It's really the only reason I go to Sturgis is
Just for that.
to see the end of the Triple Crown, see
Yeah.
the guys who are finishing that, and to meet with all those people you've met all over the summer. It's kind of like a nice
Kind
way
of
to
a
close it out.
last
Hoorah.
Yeah,
And so really, we just go to Sturgis for that.
just for that.
Yeah, we get a group of guys together. We think we show up on Saturday night, do the show on Sunday, and then Monday we're taking off.
Back on the road.
So then we'll do one or two little rides maybe just to see something, but
Sure.
we leave a lot on the table for us to go back next year and go hit.
Well, and there's so much to do there.
Oh, yeah.
And I always tell people, like, if you want to ride that area, don't go during
Yeah,
Sturgis.
definitely
No.
not.
Don't go during
That's the worst
Sturgis.
time.
Yeah, you can't really ride out there. I mean, the last year we were there, it was 2 years ago, and we tried to do a ride one day, and it's fun and all, but there's just so many people.
It's like a parade.
It
It's
is.
parade mode.
You're running through the canyon or wherever you're going, and it's just rolling along at 30 miles an hour
Yeah.
because it's just a train of bikes through
Bikes
there.
in the way.
Yeah.
We've really enjoyed riding Utah. We did, I think it's Highway 24 to 95, the Escalante,
Oh yeah.
Hogsback,
Mhm.
and that sort of area. I think Caneville,
Mhm.
Hanksville area. It's beautiful out there.
For sure.
I don't know why we hadn't known about that before.
Yeah, there's
but-
some really good roads down there.
There is. We've enjoyed all of Utah,
Yeah.
all the sections we've ridden. Utah's pretty amazing. Got some good riding.
It definitely does. And I think we're really blessed right here in Ogden because you can run a few hours south and be on roads like that,
Right.
in the Red Rocks and
You got the mountains up
And we
there.
got-
A couple hours north, you're in
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
yeah, we'll go,
Yeah.
that direction you're in Yellowstone. You can run out and be on the salt flats within an hour or two.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the diversity that surrounds us as far as riding goes, it's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
But yeah, Southern Utah is amazing.
Yeah, we did. I went through Zion's last year on the way to the camp out, and that was my first time doing it. And yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I wish, while we were traveling, I wish I had more time to stop and check it out and see things. We just basically rushed right through it.
Yeah, you
so-
tend to do that a lot. Me and Jo had an idea a few years back. We were going to call it like what were we calling it? Like a leapfrog type
Yeah.
ride where we were going to get like a group of us, maybe, 5 or 6 of us that would join in. And basically what we wanted to do is we wanted to circle the United States. Like
Oh,
kind
wow.
of like go south and like
yeah.
run across the border, up the East Coast, back across the top
Yeah, that'd
border.
be cool.
But do it over a couple of years. So what we were going to do is
Oh, yeah.
go pick a point and get to that point in a week or a weekend, but take our time, you know.
Right.
And then once we get to that town, say we end up in Phoenix or Tucson, is our first run,
Right.
Take our time, and then in Tucson we were going to rent a storage unit, leave our bikes
Oh,
there,
wow. Yeah.
fly home,
Okay.
come back to work
That'd be cool.
for a couple of months.
Yeah.
When we're ready, fly back to
back down,
Tucson,
back
get the
on.
bikes out,
Yeah.
move on down the border a little further,
That'd be a way to do it.
and in a year or something. But then we were like, but then our bikes are in storage for
Right. Who's going to
a
maintain
year
them
or
and keep
two,
them going?
every time.
And then you're paying a lot for the flights and all the other
Flights
stuff.
and I don't know, maybe something in our lifetime
You
will
still
make
do it.
happen.
Yeah, I think it'd
But-
still be cool.
I don't know. It's just hard to do it when you work
Yeah,
and you
it's-
have a
It's always time versus money. I
For
think
sure.
That's the biggest challenge of life, time versus money.
yeah,
Just when you get a chance to do something, just do it.
Yeah.
just got to go for it.
Yeah.
Gotta
Well,
go for it.
we're always running out of time. You can never get that back.
For
so
sure.
You've got to do
You
it.
got to just do it.
Yeah.
So if you're ever thinking about it, just
Exactly.
Just do it.
It might not be there next time.
You
know?
well,
get
just
that
like the
bug,
camp
yeah,
out.
exactly.
I wanted to do the Fast Life camp
You
out, and I
missed out.
slept on it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
now it's too late.
So you ever think of it, do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, cool. So if people want to follow along in your guys' travels or whatever, Instagram's the best place.
Yeah, mostly that's where we're doing it. I do have a YouTube channel, but it just takes so long to edit the videos. I haven't
Sure.
done anything with it.
Sure.
So, maybe I will get into it. I've been thinking about going and taking classes
Oh, yeah.
to learn more of the video editing thing, just to brush up on more of those computer skills. So I have quite a bit of hands-on, hand skills, technical degrees, but yeah, nothing really computer-wise. So that's where I need to focus a little bit more on.
Right on. So people can follow you at on Instagram at Woodgrain FXR,
Woodgrain FXR and Detox Rides.
Detox Rides, and
Yep.
you know, if guys are out there and
I've also got the FXR Triple Crown page where I'm trying to promote the Triple Crown. And
Okay.
maybe highlight some of the guys.
and just
that have done
just let people know what that is real quick.
Oh, well, the Triple Crown is it's 3 events that take place all over the country. There's a jam in the East Coast, in East Durham, New York, and then there's a jam in the West Coast over at Topaz Lodge, the border of California, Nevada. And then there's the FXR show in Sturgis. So if you ride your FXR to all 3 of those events in the same year, in the same calendar, it's called the Triple Crown. It's been going on for, I think, about like 10 years now. These events have been happening, and there's been last year the 11th person completed it. So out of
11 people,
11 people.
in 10 years has done
Has
the Triple
completed
Crown.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty rare thing to put these bikes on the road for that long.
For
and
sure.
That sort
So is the Triple Crown, I mean, is that your thing, or is that something you're just kind of documenting?
It's kind of something I'm trying to document.
Okay.
It was, a lot of people don't know about it or wondering about it, or have no idea. Maybe have heard about it but don't know what it is. So yeah, I kind of started that.
Does it have to be an FXR?
Yes, it does. That's the requirement.
That's the has to be those 3 events and on an FXR.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So Detox was right there with us the whole time on his bagger.
But you don't get the notoriety.
Unfortunately not. But
You know what? I got the notoriety.
yeah.
Just you
I
got
was
the
with
miles and the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was right there with us.
Sure.
And did the same exact thing, and kind of at the jams too. Yeah, this just guys showing up and having
hanging
fun
out.
and just hanging out.
Yeah.
It's a reason to get together. It's a reason to ride across the country. It's a reason to get these bikes out on the highway and log some miles on them, and
And you have to ride them.
yeah,
Can't trailer them
Yeah,
or none of that.
Yeah.
crap.
no trailering, no riding, or all riding, no trailering, and just getting it done.
For sure.
Doing
Well,
cross country on a 30-year-old bike.
I would encourage people to jump on and at least follow along with, if they're not going to participate, at least jump on and follow it and,
Yeah.
be a part of it and help encourage those people that do want to go out and do it,
Yeah.
you know.
So I've been trying to, document the guys that have completed it, and trying to figure out a way to highlight them, and kind of
Give them a little bit of
it's somewhere where we can
a spotlight or something.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to kind of figure out, how to do all that. And it's kind of the same with doing the pictures and the media and everything else. I need to brush up on some of those
Sure.
skills.
What was that Instagram page again?
FXR Triple Crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tell people to definitely follow along there. And
And I think it's been, gaining traction
Yeah.
over the last few years as more people complete, more people, hear about it and know about it. And so I'm excited to see who's attempting it this year.
I think it's cool because it gives, the jams have been there, but, the Triple Crown gives people kind of a goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A reason to attend these events,
And that was kind of my original goal once I bought my FXR was
to do it.
I had seen.
Are you one of the 11?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I was in with the group of guys that was 8, 9, and 10.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
we did that in 2022. And
Okay.
so, yeah, I went to the FXR show and saw the recipients from 2021, and I was just inspired by what they had done. They had a group of 3 guys, and they had built amazing bikes and ridden them all over the country. And from there, I knew I wanted to get an FXR, and I knew I wanted to do that, to ride all over the country, to have a reason to. And so, yeah, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks after Sturgis, I picked up my FXR and built it over that winter. And then the next spring, we started riding
next
it.
year.
The next year, yeah. So within the year, I was back with the Triple Crown.
Right on.
And so that was one of the best summers of my life.
For sure.
It couldn't get any better.
I think that's inspirational. I mean, I think, people listening should take note,
Yeah.
if You know, because we all have those moments when you see something, you're like, oh, that'd be so badass to do it. And then that, for a lot of people, that's as far as they go with it.
Right.
They never take action.
That's
Like,
what I'm
just-
saying.
just-
Gotta do it.
It was a lot, you know, don't get me wrong. But from the moment I got that thing, that was my goal, you know.
Right on.
So
That's cool.
I had committed to other people that I was going, and so that's what we did. And yeah, it was one of the best summers of my life, and just trying to do everything I can to recreate it again. I'd love to redo the Triple Crown and to do it multiple times. I'd love to be able to do it every year. Would be, you know, awesome, because it's very special to me. It really changed my life.
Right on.
You know, that and riding long distance, and you know,
Yeah.
those are my favorite things.
It
now.
probably, I mean, I can't imagine you know, without that, you know, if you probably look back now, the amount of, you know, not just the miles, but the experiences and the people and the connections that you made
definitely.
through just saying, I want to buy an FXR and I want to do the Triple Crown. Like, it wasn't just an FXR and riding to those locations that you got. Like, how many connections and how many experiences came along with it
Tons. I mean,
that you could have never dreamed of.
yeah, I have some of my best friends have, you know, in my life have come from that and from being out there. And it's allowed me to create connections all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, to now, I have connections all over the country and couches I could stay at. And it's
I
just
think
been
that's
it's
such
a
a
great
beautiful thing.
It's a great way to network.
Yeah,
you
it is,
know?
man. I think it's so cool.
And if you got a problem on the road, you know
You
people
got
from
friends in
here-
every
yeah,
state.
right, from here to there.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, when I first started, I didn't really know many people. I'd just gotten into the thing. And a lot of people didn't know me, but showing up and going to the events and, you know, being a familiar face just, you know, lets you get into that connections a lot better.
Flat track was kind of that same thing for me.
I could see that. I see probably a lot of camaraderie in the pits.
For
You know,
sure.
you see a lot of the same faces in different states.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what are you doing here? You know?
For real.
It's
And
really cool. It makes this country a lot smaller.
It
once
really
you
does,
start
man.
traveling.
It does, man. I mean, me and Jay, we decided to go to Mama Tried for the first time. We just saw the show and we're like, man, well, let's go to Milwaukee. We wanted to go to Milwaukee and see the museum and all the Harley stuff there. And we're like, let's go to this Mama Tried show. And we went there and we went and attended as spectators the Flat Out Friday flat track race.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, this is so badass. I want to do this. And kind of the same thing. I was like, I'm gonna race it next year.
Cool.
And I had never raced flat track before that. This
Yeah.
was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, come home, buy a Sportster, build it into a flat tracker, and the next year at Mama Tried, I was racing.
Cool.
And kind of the same thing. Start building connections and making friends and
Setting goals and achieving them and following through.
and it for the same, kind of the same thing. It changed my life and my course and all for the better.
yeah.
So kind of that same thing. So I would encourage people, man, if something inspires you, like, listen to it and take action.
It's pretty rare, you know, to get an opportunity to spend that many days on the road, you know. So if you could ever swing it or try to swing it or something, you know,
Just go for
I
it,
would
man.
I would really encourage it.
Go for it,
It's
man.
really life changing.
Do they have on this on the Triple Crown? You of course you got to ride them, like you said. Are you having to like document along the way, like proving that you're riding it? You know, and
I
kind of like
mean-
the Iron Butt. You know, you got to like have people sign.
Not necessarily.
I was
no,
curious on
No, I think, you know,
just the honor system.
it's pretty
what it is?
much, you know, you'll be visible, you know, when you
Yeah.
show up across the country
Just
at the
bikes
jam
hammer.
and someone looks at your Idaho plate, you know,
Yeah.
like they'll know, you know, and there's people that come from both ends, you know, people do the East Coast, some just do the West Coast, and, you know, some do East and Sturgis, some do West
Right.
and Sturgis. So I think it's pretty visible, you know, on what's going on.
I think it's
who's
interesting.
doing
Only
it.
11
And
11 people,
I-
that
it's-
have done this.
It seems pretty
It-
rare. What do you
It's
think?
Accomplished it.
How
Yeah.
There's some people that's tried it that
There's
didn't make
Didn't
it.
make it.
there's been a couple, you know,
Okay.
attempts that
Breakdowns, things like
And,
that they can't fix on the road.
Right.
You know,
if there's catastrophic, you know, then it
Kind of
got
put
traffic.
it in the truck and trailer it,
Okay.
haul it home and
Yeah.
try again next year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So it's
But
basically how many miles is it total then? I know we're
it
I guess
really
it depends on where
it
you're
just
starting
depends
from.
on where you're at.
Yeah.
I think on our
for you.
just the Triple Crown run we did, we were probably, I'd got to say about 10. I don't know if you could do it any less than
Right.
10, somewhere around there.
'Cause you're East
I mean,
Coast.
because
hauls
West
the-
Coast is
the-
pretty
Yeah.
not that far for you guys.
No.
We're
We're like
relatively
700 or 800
Yeah.
miles to there, and probably the same to Sturgis. But the poke to the East Coast
Yeah,
is
that's-
really big.
That's a rip right there. How many was it? What, 2 weeks for you guys to get to that one?
We went the long way, so we actually went down south, and then we came up through we came up through Blue Ridge Parkway through Virginia,
Mm.
and then we came down the
That's a good one.
coast, the East Coast, and then in through Texas. And,
to come home.
yeah, to come home.
So you really
we
took
made
a
a
long way.
really
Oh,
long
okay.
way.
Yeah, 28
Because
states.
I didn't know.
How many was that? How many states?
28
Hear that
states.
Yeah,
truck
Yeah,
going by with
28
these
on
headphones.
the way out.
28 states
Holy
on
cow,
the
dude.
way
Dude,
there
that
and
is
back
awesome.
to the East Coast. And, that was our reason to ride to the East Coast. I'd never been to the East Coast, never experienced the South or any of that. So, I mean, that was my chance to make that trip,
Man.
and see it. So, but now I'm trying everything I can to get back to it and do it again because I had so much fun. So yeah, it really just depends. There's multiple different factors and probably different ways you could do it. If there was a retired guy or something who could do the whole thing in the summer and just make a big tour and maybe never go back home. Or,
How much time's
know.
between the East and the West Coast Jam?
So the East Coast Jam is going to be the beginning of June over in East Durham, New York. The West Coast Jam is middle of July. And then Sturgis is the first week of August.
Yes,
So there's a pretty good gap between the East and the West, and then a pretty short one between West and Sturgis.
It's got me peaked because I've got a 99 FXR.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's got me peaked. And I've put, I think I got over 70,000 on that. That was one of
Wow.
my original cross countries,
Okay.
that I would run that thing
Yeah.
until I, of course, got my Road Glide. But it's got me peaked, man, because I like the long hauls.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of fun. It's it's a test of man and machine.
Yeah.
You feel out there and kind of it feels like work sometimes.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just like
it's not
clocking
easy.
in.
It's not easy.
It's not.
It becomes a mental game too
Yeah.
when you're laying down those miles to, especially coming from here to East Coast,
Yeah.
man, and you're trying to see, okay, if I can get, like, how many miles did you guys run in one day? Or
We
you
try
feeling-
to hit 500.
Five
It's
was
a
your-
pretty good goal. Anything more than that is fantastic.
Yeah.
The minimum would probably be like 350, 400. But just depends where you're at,
Right.
what you're wanting to do, if you got time. That's what we like to do is at least 5.
That's good.
So,
Yeah, that's still
couple
a good day.
A state line or two.
Yeah.
Know.
Trying to get through Nebraska. No.
Yeah,
Nebraska's a long
Texas
one.
is the worst one.
Oh, I
You
bet.
can't-
Oh, yeah.
It always takes 2 days
Right.
to get through that thing.
Texas is
Unless you're hitting the
Texas.
panhandle.
Everything's
Right.
bigger in Texas.
Oh,
right?
it's massive. Yeah, we just came from there. Where I can attest.
It's almost
Yeah.
like you hit wind, like you hit that border, man. It's like you're just hitting that headwind, man.
Oh,
You're just
yeah,
like, Just let me get out of this place. Yeah.
I hate it. Texas is the worst because you hit a state line, you're like, oh man, we'll be through this in another 4 or 5 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Not Texas.
Nope.
Nope.
4 or 5 hours, and you still
Especially
got a long ways to
You're
go.
on the low road, man.
Yeah.
That I-10.
Yeah. Well, right on, guys. I'm stoked you guys wanted to, join us here on the podcast.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
thanks for having me.
yeah,
Thanks for
thanks for
having us.
sharing your stories, and would love to have you guys as, maybe a reoccurring guest every
Cool.
so often, maybe
Right.
once a year or something, and catch up on
Catch up on-
what you guys have done this year.
For sure.
And we look forward to seeing you guys at the campout and the art show and wherever else we're going to run into you.
Cool.
And you guys always know as you're rolling through here if you need anything,
Right
where
on.
we're at. So
Thank you. We appreciate
yeah,
your hospitality
For
and
sure.
throwing all these awesome events. And if there's anything we can do for you guys, yeah, let us know.
for sure we will. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys.
Yep.